Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have a pretty rubbishy rack, a lot of I's, but I do have scoring tiles in the F and the Y, and I've got the IFY ending. So through a G, I may actually have rigidify. I'm not totally sure of that, and in any event, no G provided. There is a nice spot for my F immediately underneath this I. But can I get rid of two I's? Well, I can down from the B. I've got bifid, keeping IRY. Can I do better than that? Now, I note that my Y can go underneath the B. I can't take advantage of both of those spots, the Y and the F. But is there any way of getting rid of two I's and either a Y or an F in the doubling spot? I'm not sure there is. But it would be annoying to miss such a spot. I think I do have to get rid of both I's. Well, unless there was a spot for F and Y and one of them. Can't see such a spot. I think I also need to get rid of at least one of F and Y. So I'm inclined to play bifid. It's not hugely dangerous. It's not putting a vowel next to any premium squares, and the rack leave is reasonably okay. Just 12 points though. What about, is there anything underneath boy? Something like IRY or IDY? Just not seeing it. A player fry would score a lot more than bifid, but keep three I's. A play of I would keep F and Y. Well, this doesn't feel great, but I'm going with it. Bifid for 12. And that's quite a good pickup. No bingo, but no duplicates, and it's balanced, and I've got scoring tiles, so I should be able to leave an okay rack leave. Boy takes an L after it, as well as an S, which doesn't help me this turn. Now my K can go, wow, look at that, 78 points for my opponent. Fantastic start for him. And he's provided a few floaters, but I don't think any of them give me a bingo. Let me just consider all of the floaters on the board. No, I'm not seeing anything. So, how can I score? I've got Larky in column 8, which gets rid of the K and the Y. My two least bingo-y scoring tiles. My I can also go after the D. So I think this is best. Larky for 43. That's looking a little bit better. I'm sure there are going to be some 8s through the right floater. So what do I have to consider? Mainly the R and the G. Well, the R's gone. Opponent now 80 points in the lead. So he is ahead, but he's not out of sight. Can't see anything with the G, although I do have the AGE ending. Nothing with the Y. What about the R? Not seeing anything there. The K. Make bait, possibly. Is it spelled AIT as well as ATE? Let me just check. I don't think it is. Nope. Can't see anything with the Z or the O. So what do I have through the Z? I've got Zimb, which is going to score well, but leave a vowel heavy rack leave. What else do I have through the Z? I've got the IZE ending. Not seeing anything better than Zimb. And if I pick consonants, I could be in reasonable shape, and 51 points is a good score. Well, I don't draw consonants, or not enough, so I have a vowel heavy rack and no scoring tiles, and I trail by 30 with my opponent on turn. However, too good to change. If I can play EAU, I'll be keeping a really good four-letter set in seat, and I suspect there are going to be spots for EAU or its anagram AUE, and there is above the N of re-oiling. And in fact I have EAU beside Larky. Great, only 21 points for my opponent. So I have 18 points for O, which is pretty good. Can I do any better than that? I don't think I can. Great, that looks very promising. I have Tenias on my rack, and that plays in column 10, making jar and boys. That still plays. And that starts in row B, so it's not opening up the triples. And its anagram is Entasia, which doesn't work. However, what does this rack make with an N? Not seeing anything. Anything through the G is not going to score as well, so I think the best play is Tenias. For 76 points. Not great, just the one vowel, but no duplicates, so I should be able to play through this. I've got Vang in row C, but that doesn't get doubled. Vend in row D. Now, do I have a play in column 2, which scores well? I would like to get rid of the V. The rest of the rack is quite bingo-y. And it would be useful to hang on to the E, which necessitates playing through the A and the E, and therefore shutting the board down. I'm 7 points in front, but opponent on turn, so I think I'm probably a tempo behind. And there's a pretty hot double-double lane in row E, which suggests maybe a play through the E of Tenias would be a good idea. Great, opponent changes. So, what do I have? Well, I have Venged. Still one blank to come. This does burn the E, but it's putting it out in the open. Scores 22 points, rack leaves okay. Can I do better? I could play Gaved, which might not be good. And Venge takes an E in front, which is dangerous. This is only going to put me 30 points ahead. So, is there something better? Maybe something parallel to Tenias, making Jag. So I could play Rend. Well, Reng isn't good, and Rend makes Jad, so neither of those works. I've got Eng, but that keeps 4 consonants, including the V, so that's not going to be optimal. So I don't have anything hot in column 11. So what about playing Grieve? Keeping DNS the same score, it avoids that super hot A hook. E slightly less dangerous because a play through it doesn't get doubled. And it's not underneath a double word square. I've got the S for pluralising it. Rack leave not as good as just RS. So do I go with this? I could play Verged rather than Venged, which avoids the front hook. Only 2 ends to come. And the reason I'm jumping between these is that I prefer keeping just 2 consonants to 3. The optimal balance is 2 more consonants and vowels, and keeping 3 consonants after Greave increases the risk of having 6 or 7 consonants. So I'm going with this, Verged for 22. I draw lots of vowels. Which isn't great, especially with such a slender lead. Now I have a scoring tile in the Y, so playing off a Y and one of the I's is a priority. Wow, look at that. Opponent bingos and he doesn't use the blank. So he's now 30 points in front. I can play I in for 30. Good score. Okay-ish rack lead, given what I started with. I'm taking out floaters, which isn't great, given that I'm behind, but there is still the floating T of Tenias and parallel lanes in columns 4 and 6, and the floating R, A and T, so it's not a super tight board. There's also the O of zone. Anything better than I in. Now all the I's have gone, so the one on my rack is the last, so if I draw the Q, I've got chin in column 15, which is good. I'm going with this. Okay, I don't draw the Q. I do have a balanced rack, but it doesn't make a bingo. Just reconfirming that in my mind with the R and the T. 28 points for my opponent, so I trail by 35, which means I still have my opponent within my sights. Now, I thought I had woodier, but I'm pretty sure it's just woodsier. Yeah, otherwise that would have been a really nice play in column 2. Well, except I have woody in this spot for 51, and I don't mind opening up column 1 since I'm behind, and a play by my opponent in column 1 is likely to open up column 3 and column 2 for 7-letter bingos, and this rack leave's pretty good. Has my opponent created anything super hot in the top right? He hasn't. Nothing goes in front of OYE. I'm going with woody. Pretty good, I think. I don't have a bingo, but I do have a 16-point lead. And I've got scoring tiles, and this is balanced. So 22 tiles in the bag. Let me check the vowels. 8 out of 25. Okay, so it's vowel light, which means I should be looking to hang on to the vowels that I've got. And I'm looking to jettison one of the P's, and if I just played PE, then the remaining 5 tiles pretty bingo-y. Pun is good, so maybe just play pun. Any alternative spots for the P? Jap. That's quite nice. Opponent might be reluctant to place an E on the end to make jape because he'll be opening a bingo lane in column 13. What about playing japped? 19 points. A good rack leave given how vowel light the bag is. I'm creating new floaters. Row H onto this triple word square, not super dangerous. So I quite like japped. And I'm only 10 points behind, so I'm not looking to bingo. In which case, should I be making such an open move? What about just playing jap? That's 12. That's only 7 fewer points, and this is a pretty decent 6-letter set. I'm going with this, jap for 12. And I draw one of the remaining vowels. I don't have a bingo on my rack. I have a lead of 2 points. I do prefer that play to japped. Remaining tiles quite bingo-y despite the vowel lightness of them. So I probably am looking to play the P just for score. $22 for my opponent. That's quite a nice score for him. So where can I play my P? I want to keep the bingo lanes open because I've got quite a bingo-y rack. Now, am I sure I don't have a bingo? Wow, look at that. Through the R. I would have Paziard, but it's in the wrong spot. And I don't think Paziard has an anagram. Seven minutes on my clock, 15 tiles in the bag. My opponent's playing quite quickly, only 15 minutes. Sorry, 15 minutes on his clock. That's not only, that's a big number. Just wondering about using this jape hook. Because I could play P. I've got the D and the S for japed. No Ds left. 2 S's. I'm creating a bingo lane, but this is a very bingo-y 4-letter set. And there are other bingo lanes on the board. 19 points is quite a decent score. I'm going with this. Well, I don't think I have a bingo. Through an I would have Chiosed. This is a nice looking rack, it's just not bingo-y. And the R of Ratline is not a floater because I can only put 6 tiles around it. The A is. And the T isn't. And I can't see a 7-letter play. However, I have Ache in row H. Just 1 point between us. Super tight game. C and H have synergy. The U's not a disaster on my rack because it's a vowel light bag and the Q is unplayed, so I'm not rushing to play that. Clid not good. Still 2 O's to come for making OLED. If I had had one of those, a play of OH would have scored really well. Nearly 40 points, so that could be a hot spot for one of us, with OH and OM still playable in that spot. So, what do? I've got my D for japed. Great, only 37 points for my opponent. He plays off one of the O's. Just 3 vowels left out of 13. He's created no new floaters. He has provided a hotspot. 6 tiles in the bag. So I could play Horde for 32, 366. That would keep us really close. There's still the X to come, and look what my opponent's provided here. And he played off 6 tiles. There's quite a good chance he's drawn the X. But if I dodge the U, well, even if I have a bingo rack, this board isn't great for bingos. Column B, row B is good for a bingo ending in T, but a play in column 2, not particularly great because I can't put an E next to the L. and it's only the A of rat line which is a floater, and it's got to be in a very precise place, and any bingos in column 4 and 6 have to have 4 tile overlaps, which are unlikely. However, 32 points is good. 5 minutes on my clock. What about a play down column 14, putting my H on this spot? It would have to be HE to get doubled. Can't see such a play. I don't think hanging on to the Q, hanging on to the U because of the Q is a good idea. I think I've got to hope my opponent doesn't, well, hope that I don't draw it and can outscore. The U on my rack is too hampering in terms of a bingo, and I may need a bingo to win. Horde for 32. What about a play in column 14? No, I'm going with this. I draw the Q, I dodge the X. This isn't looking good. There's only 2 tiles in the bag. This is looking really bad. I'm going to struggle to play my Q. I've got cat for 12 points, that's rubbish, but it may be the only thing available. I've got chi, but I'm just run out of time. I'm 6 points behind. My opponent's got this super hot X spot. That is a bad pickup. It's easy to say I should have hung on to the U, but I just wasn't seeing a good alternative play. Especially with an S and a blank out there. I couldn't really play my H next to the O without giving away a really hot response for my opponent in column 15. The C's go really badly with a Q, unless you've got something like Squacko or Croquets, but I would need a U and I would need some other tile. No available U's. So if opponent's got Axe, he's likely to play it, I think. And there's not much I can do about that. Opponent would be emptying the bag. I do have 2 spots for the Q, so I don't necessarily have to play it immediately, although it may be possible for my opponent to block both of them. Just looking around to see if I have a 3rd spot. Wow, look at that. Opponent bingos. The R and the X were in the bag. And opponent has provided a U for me, so I've got coquettes, but it's not going to be enough. $54 points, which is going to take me over the 400 mark, but I'm going to be behind, and opponent can play Ox. And then I'm not going to score enough with my C. I think I do have to play coquettes. No way of playing both C's, and this maximizes my score. What if I held back the S? So if I held back the S is getting 3 points for coquettes. Well, it's only worth holding back if my opponent can't go out with R and X, and I don't think he can. So what can I do with S and C? Not very much. I'm going with coquettes. I guess I should have checked that I can't be stuck with the C. I've got Mac and car. I don't think those are both blockable. Opponent's got this great X spot next to the O of whores. And takes a 50-odd point lead. So I have car. Is there anything better? 3 minutes on my clock. Just going to have a quick squiz down the board. Piak not good. Cox is good. And that wouldn't have been available if I'd kept the S as well, so that's a better spot. Sorry, that means that Coquettes was better than Coquette. Just finished going through the alphabet, going through the board, can't see anything, so I think Cox is best. And the final score, 434 to me, 476 to my opponent, a winning margin of 42 points, so well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. So, it was my opponent to go first, a nice rack. No bingo. He plays boy. And Yid would have been better than Bifid just on the basis of score. I7, Yid under boy, that was a better play. And I'm not so sure about the others. Great rack for my opponent. He's got a choice of bingos, plays reoiling. And now I have Larky for 43. Opponent plays zone. And I have Zimb. Wow, not a great rack for my opponent, but he does lead. He plays jig. And I have O for 18. Opponent's still not a great rack, but gets 34 for F. And now I bingo, and there were just the two. Wow, terrible rack for my opponent, and he trails. This is when he changed. And I played Verged, which I prefer to Venged because of its front A hook. Wow, and look at that. Opponent had 7 consonants, changes 5 of them, and picks up the tiles for rat line. A really good spot, quite a high probability word, but it's not one which leaps out at you. It's not a common word. And that puts him into a 30-point lead. I play Iron for 30. Irony, C11. Oh, coming down through the R, making J. That's quite nice for 37 points. 7 more points and a slightly better rack lead, so that would have been a better play. Opponent plays Tolyu, and at this point I trail by 30. But I have Woody for 51, and that puts me into the lead. Opponent plays Levo, and I had this rack. Oh wow, look at this. There was a bingo through the A, appeased. I missed that. Well done if you saw it. That would have been significant. I only trailed by 10 points at this time. Wow, appeased. I'm not sure I spent any time at all looking for a bingo, but there was one there. Instead, I spent my time wondering about Jap and Japped. Wow, big miss. Opponent's rack, he plays Neg. No missed bingo here, and I play P for 19, and I think that's fine. It keeps a decent rack leave. Wow, opponent has Reshown and Japer for 97 points. Misses those, plays Hawes for 37. And I have this rack trailing by 40. No bingo. So this is where I played Horde, burning the U. I14. I could have played AHED. Taking out that X spot, preserving the U, and scoring 39 points. Interesting. That may have been a better play. So I play Horde. Wow, look at this. A ton of bingos available for my opponent. And he plays Untames, sticking the U out in the open. And all I can do is play Coquettes. Opponent plays Ox. And I go out with Cox. So, very, very close game. Opponent benefiting in the end from the second blank and that well-spotted bingo, since it was a 4-tile overlap, which just made his lead unassailable. I think the two main points in that game were probably the miss of appeased, which is likely to have made a big difference, and also the play of Horde versus a play of Ard, or maybe some other play. But anyway, an interesting game and a tight game, so I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I will see you next time.